Hello, hello, hello. It's Dr. J, you guys. And I had taken a break for the holidays, and we are back, and I am glowing and looking even more beautiful. And guess what? I have my pharmacy robe on because pharmacy spoils us, gives us lots of gifts. So I earned this as a director. And so I have been cozy and staying warm. I hope you are staying warm because I heard it's cold everywhere, no matter where you at. And this robe has pockets. So I have my lip gloss because, hunty, we got to keep these lips moisturized. We got to keep them moisturized. Yes. Yes. We even have a new lip out. So if you have not, or you're not into makeup, or you're a man, but you just need your lips to stay moisturized through the winter, make sure to get you some lip oil. So if you are a pharmacy influencer, log into your back office and see all the new products that dropped. If you are new to my page, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're not in the pharmacy, you can go to shopwithdrj.com, shopwithdrj.com. And that is our sponsor today for our book club, because we are reading Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Be Your Future Self Now. And I'm so ready to get through this book, you guys. We are going to be on part 3 today. So there's 3 parts of this book, and we are at the end. So we are almost through this book. We are going to be on page 125 today. And in case this is your first time tuning in, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what this book has been about. And that way, you can write down the letter that corresponds to what I'm about to say, and you can go back and find the replay for that letter if there is a topic I'm about to mention that hits and you're like, ooh, that might be for me. I need to hear more on that topic. So part 1 was 7 threats to your future self, 7 threats. And threat number 1, or A, I'm going to say these based off of letters because when I recorded it, I put letters instead of numbers. So the 7 threats to your future self. A, without hope in your future, your present loses meaning. Without hope in your future, your present loses meaning. That's A. B, a reactive narrative about your past stunts your future. A reactive narrative about your past stunts your future. That's B. C, being unaware of your environment creates a random evolution. Being unaware of your environment creates a random evolution. D, being disconnected from your future self leads to myopic decisions. Being disconnected from your future self leads to myopic decisions. Yes, myopic decisions. E, urgent battles and small goals keep you stuck. Urgent battles and small goals keep you stuck. I gotta take this headset off. It's messing my head up. Okay, urgent battles and small goals keep you stuck. E. F, not being in the arena is failing by default. Not being in the arena is failing by default. That's F. G is success is often the catalyst for failure. Success is often the catalyst for failure. G. H was the conclusion on the future self threats. And then we went into part 2, which was 7 truths about your future self. Okay. I, your future drives your present. I, your future drives your present. J, your future self is different than you expect. J, your future self is different than you expect. K, your future self is the Pied Piper. That's K. L, the more vivid and detailed your future self, the faster you'll progress. That's L. M, failing as your future self is better than succeeding as your current self. Failing as your future self is better than succeeding as your current self. That was M. N is success is achieved by being true to your future self, nothing else. Success is achieved by being true to your future self, nothing else. O was your view of God and how that impacts your future self. And that was a conclusion also in there at the end of your future self truths. And so now we are going into part 3. Drum roll, please. Part 3 is 7 steps for being your future self. 7 steps for being your future self. So we are on P, page 125. Okay. Results is just commitment made real. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. That was a quote by Steve Jobs. Let me say that again. Results is just commitment made real. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. And you all know who Steve Jobs is, right? The inventor of the Apple phone. Or at least he played some part in it. Okay. I don't know the whole story. I just know somehow he's connected to Apple. And I do know that he's no longer living. I do know that part. Okay. Jackie, stay focused. Back to the book. Page 126. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple, what did I just say? In 1997, the company teetered on the brink of failure. During the final quarter of 1996, Apple's sales plummeted by 30%. The stock dipped to a 12-year low, while Microsoft rose as the dominant computer company in the market. Overwhelmed by the sheer number of confusing products Apple produced, including the same product in dozens of versions. Which ones, Jobs wanted to know, do I tell my friends to buy? When management couldn't provide a simple answer, Jobs immediately cut their catalog by 70% and downsized the company from approximately 8,000 employees to 5,000. Deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do, Jobs said. It's true for companies and it's true for products. And it's true for life. I might add that one. Moving forward, Apple produced only 4 products. For professionals, Apple created the Power Macintosh G3 desktop and the PowerBook G3 portable computer. For consumers, there was the iMac desktop and the iBook portable computer. Jobs' strategy was simple: focus on fewer products and dramatically improve the quality and innovation of the few. During Jobs' first fiscal year back at Apple operated a mere 90 days from being insolvent and more than $1 billion in the red. Yet, through Jobs' strategy of eliminating distracting products and laser focusing on the essentials, Apple turned a $309 million profit during his second year back. Jobs' master plan had always been to impact the entire world. That was even the term he used in 1983 to recruit John Scully, a leader at Pepsi. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world? By bringing the Apple team together and helping them create a select few world-changing concepts, Jobs laid the groundwork for Apple's continued innovation. The company introduced revolutionary products, including the iPod in 2001, Apple iTunes Store in 2003, the iPhone in 2007, and the iPad in 2010. Jobs himself was a complex genius that no biographer or psychologist will ever fully understand. But his strategy for success was simple. Jobs held a definite attitude about how the future should be and courageously fought for his convictions. He was an essentialist who focused on less, but better, quality over quantity. Earlier in his career, Jobs was extremely rough around the edges and lacked leadership skills. This combination led to getting fired from his own company. During his 11 years away from Apple, he learned humility and leadership and the skills to innovate and change the world. During his exile years, Jobs invested in Pixar Studios and helped them with their first major film, Toy Story. That movie made him a billionaire before he returned to Apple. When he came back, he wasn't the same guy. Yes, he still had his genius and zeal. He still had a similar overarching vision, but his brash former self had been tempered with experience and wisdom. Despite disappointments and setbacks, his commitment to a future self who would change the world led him to turn a near bankrupt company into the most valuable company on the planet. Jobs' story provides a solid foundation for the 7 core steps to help your desired future self. As with all learning, the process can feel messy and some moments will be dark. Your future self will guide you. Your future self will be compassionate towards your mistakes along the way. Certainly, they have a far more elevated and wiser perspective than you and I have now. With the threats and truths behind you, you're ready for the concrete steps to be your future self now. There's no more time to wait. Your future self is ready for you. And so we're going to go into step 1, clarifying your contextual purpose. So if y'all need to get a drink, make sure you like and subscribe. Clarifying your contextual purpose. The goal creates the process in its own image. Claire Boothe said, "The height of sophistication is simplicity." Okay, we're on page 130, and I'm going to bulldoze through this. Oh, goodness. Okay, it's about 5 pages. No, it's 10 pages. So we'll see how far we got. We may have to stop in the middle. Okay. As a prisoner in the concentration camps, Viktor Frankl helped fellow inmates maintain sanity and hope by giving them inner strength by pointing out to them a future goal to which they could look forward. Frankl wasn't trying to help the prisoners discover some overarching life's purpose. Instead, he wanted to help them clarify a specific goal or purpose for their lives then and there. They needed a contextual purpose for where they were at that particular moment. For Frankl, surviving the camps meant he could restructure his book, The Doctor and the Soul. That was his purpose. That highly specific future goal gave meaning to his life and enabled him to bear his sufferings. His future self gave him the power to survive. Once released from the camps with The Doctor and the Soul published, Frankl's purpose shifted to something else that gave his life meaning and direction. People often become blocked when it comes to envisioning their future. It's common to attempt discovering grand purposes for one's life. After all, then you'll be who you really are and life will be easy and make sense. Yes, it's nice to have clarity about what you ultimately want for yourself and for your life, but it's also crucial to be open to your values, perspectives, and situation changing. Your future self will see things differently than you do now. In a few years, your future self will have a different perspective and likely have different goals than you have now. Rather than attempting to define your life's purpose, follow Frankl's wisdom. Define for yourself a contextual purpose that you believe to be the absolute most important thing you could do right now. This purpose shouldn't be beyond 10 years out. Even 5 years away may be a stretch. For Jobs, his overarching purpose was to change the world, but for a time, his contextual purpose was to specifically create and launch the iPod. Once he completed that focused and deliberate purpose, he moved to his next contextual purpose. Given your current context, which is the absolute most important thing you could achieve or realize right now, what is the next level that would be utterly amazing to achieve? Step 1, clarifying your contextual purpose involves 3 key items. Write this down. 1, connect with your long-term future self. 2, clarify your contextual purpose through your 3 major priorities. 3, set massive 12-month targets based on your 3 priorities. Connecting with your long-term future self is essential to quality decisions in the present. Let me repeat that. Connecting to your long-term future self is essential to quality decisions in the present. The further out you imagine and connect, the more informed and strategic you can be. Of course, your future self will adapt and change, but that does not discount the importance of being connected. After connecting to your long-term future self, the next step is to clarify the most important objective you could accomplish now. This is your contextual purpose. You define your contextual purpose through a refined set of objectives. These priorities are what you believe are absolutely most important to you and your future self. The challenge most people face is that they don't have clear priorities. Okay, I'm going to bulldoze this so you can pause, stop, rewind, write things down. In the iconic business book, Good to Great, Jim Collins explained the difference between most good companies and the few that become insanely successful. Collins found the majority of companies and individuals simply have way too many goals. They're unfocused and spread thin. Companies that succeed at the absolute highest level have no more than 3 core objectives they're trying to accomplish. As Collins stated, if you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any. Having too many competing goals or objectives is the major problem we all face. Like Collins, Gino Wickman found this to be true among his entrepreneurial clients. Wickman is the creator of the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, used by tens of thousands of successful entrepreneurs worldwide. Wickman helps entrepreneurs clarify what they're doing, simplify their process and goals, and ultimately get massive traction. As he stated in his book, Traction, most companies make the mistake of trying to accomplish too many objectives per year. By trying to get everything done all at once, they end up accomplishing very little and feel frustrated. One client of mine was stubborn on this point for the first few years. Each year we set goals. He would keep piling on more. When we were done, the company would have 12 to 15 goals for the year. Like clockwork, at the end of the year, they would accomplish very little and end up frustrated. Going into the 3rd year, he finally had a revelation. They were taking on too much. With this awareness, we agreed that the team could choose only 3 goals for the coming year. They did, and by the end of the year, they accomplished all 3, increased sales by 19%, and had their most profitable year in 5 years. Your life is like a garden. If you're not intentional, your garden will be overrun with weeds and randomness. This occurs if you have too many competing goals and priorities. Growing your future self requires investing in your future self. Investing in your future self is akin to planting and nourishing seeds that eventually bear fruit. To determine which seeds to plant, first determine which fruit or outcomes you want for your future self. If you want to eat salsa in your future, focus your garden on tomatoes, peppers, onions, and cilantro. Skip the sweet potatoes. It's key to ask, what are you optimizing for? Who do you want your future self to be? What few areas do you want to prioritize and invest big in so you can create 10x compounding results? What seeds or investments do you want to plant that will yield the greatest return? For instance, if you really want your future self to be far healthier, then wellness is an area of focus and major investment. Wellness is an area of focus and major investment. If you want your future self to have an abundance of passive income generating assets, then finance is a core priority. Only you can decide what you want to optimize for your future self. Only you can determine what specific seeds to plant and what you want your life to look like. The second key to clarifying your future self is defining your purpose with 3 clear priorities. What 3 priorities, if realized, would take your life to a total different level? These are the 3 areas of focus you want to dramatically invest in to create 10x compounding results. These priorities are the most important areas of focus at this particular point in time. In the future, you will likely have different priorities. As a teenager, my single purpose was to get on a church mission following high school. I had no idea what my life held after that mission, but I believed that getting on that mission was the absolute most important thing I could do for my future self, not go to college, not figure out what I would do with my life, not begin my career, not just go on that mission. If I could get to that mile marker, I'd figure out what to do next from there. That purpose probably saved my life, just as Frankel's purpose saved his. During my teen years, I experienced a lot of trauma and confusion. My parents had gone through a brutal divorce. My father battled an extreme drug addiction, and there wasn't much stability in my home. Without that North Star of serving a mission, I would likely have sunk into the chaos around me. I knew that to serve a mission, I needed a high school diploma, With the mission as my goal, I barely graduated high school, but I graduated. I needed to uphold various standards to become a missionary, which enabled me to not get lost in the drugs and similar traps around me. Once I got home from that mission in 2010, at age 22, my contextual purpose for the next 5 years was threefold. 1, get married. 2, finish college. 3, get into a PhD program. Despite 0 college experience, 0 college credits to my name, I knew I wanted to attend Brigham Young University. BYU is just about as competitive and difficult to get into as some Ivy League universities, but my objective remained clear. I earned straight A's at Salt Lake Community College and was accepted to BYU. I met Lauren during my second semester. We were married 8 months later. My first attempt applying to a PhD programs met with rejection from 15 different schools. Getting rejected turned out to be a major gain. Getting rejected turned out to be a major gain. You hear that? Getting rejected turned out to be a major gain, because that led me to find perhaps the best mentor I've ever had, Dr. Nate Lambert. Together, Nate and I wrote and submitted nearly 20 papers for publication. With this experience, I applied to universities I wanted to attend and eventually chose to pursue a PhD in organizational psychology at Clemson University. Upon entering my PhD program in 2014, my contextual purpose for the next 5 years was threefold: grow our family, finish my PhD, begin my writing career, and become a professional writer. Shortly after getting to Clemson, Lauren and I became the foster parents of 3 children. We spent the next 3 years battling the foster system until February of 2018, when we were miraculously granted adoption. 1 month after the adoption, after years of fertility treatments, Lauren became pregnant with twin girls via in vitro fertilization, IVF. Our twins were born December of 2018. In early 2015, during my second semester at Clemson, I started blogging online. Over the next 2 years, I wrote hundreds of blog posts and grew a sizable email list. In January of 2017, I landed my first book deal, and in March of 2018, Willpower Doesn't Work was published. In 2019, I finished my PhD and signed book deals for my next 2 books, Personality Isn't Permanent and Who Not How, both of which were published in 2020. That brings me to this present moment. Lauren and I now have 6 children. Our last child, Rex, was born in November of 2020. We live in Orlando, and our 3 older kids are 14, 12, and 10. Given our stage in life, our purpose and priorities are different from what they were 5 years ago when we were first starting out at Clemson. We're not the same person or people we were. We're not in the same situation. We don't have the same contextual purpose. In a recent conversation, Lauren and I discussed what would be the most important areas of focus for us over the next few years. We decided that our top priority is our older 3 kids, since they are making their way through their teen years and will launch into being adults soon. As of 2021, my contextual purpose for the next 5 years is threefold. 1, family with a massive emphasis on my 3 older kids. 2, books, 10xing my career as an author in terms of quality of books published and number of books sold. 3, finances, 10xing my net worth, securing my long-term finances for myself and my family. So family, book, and finances. These are the 3 areas I want to optimize for my future self. This is the fruit I want my future self to experience. Those are the areas I'm going to make massive and focused investments in to assure these specific areas grow and compound massively. I share my priorities simply to give an example. The specifics of my current priorities and focus are not what matters. The question for you to answer is, what is your current purpose? Who is your future self at the next level? Can you give your future self context and make your vision vivid, detailed, and personal to you? What are 3 priorities of focus are absolutely most crucial and essential for you right now? I'm asking you, who is your future self at your next level? Can you give your future self context and make your vision vivid, detailed, and personal to you? What 3 priorities of focus are absolutely most crucial and essential for you right now? Do your 3 priorities embody the purpose you feel is most important for you to fulfill it? Do these 3 priorities resonate deeply and excite you? For additional training and resources, including the 3 priorities checklist, go to futureself.com. After you clarify and define your core 3 priorities, set specific and measurable 12-month goals for each one. Here are my own 2022 goals that he wrote in the book on page 139. For family, take 150 free non-working days during 2022, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, where I invest in my family and have peak experiences. 6-week summer Europe trip, monthly one-on-one with the older kids, huge focus and investment in their sports and other interests. 2, books. Publish Be Your Future Self Now, and 10x is easier than 2x. Sell more than 1 million books between all of my published works. Determine my next collaboration for a 2023 book. Finances. Reach my financial freedom target, the amount of assets that would enable me to live well off the growing equity. Once you've clarified your 3 core priorities, set specific goals for each of those priorities over the next 12 months. Rank and order those goals in terms of which are the absolute most important, which of your 12-month goals, if achieved, will make the biggest long-term impact for your future self. Rank ordering my top 3 goals for 2022. 1, 150 free days with the family for connection, recovery, presence, slowing time down. That was number 1. 2, publishing 2 books. 3, reaching financial freedom targets. So once you sub-list them, then out of that list, you make the top 3. So once you've rank ordered your top 3 12-month goals, ask yourself, which of these could I potentially 10x in the next 12 months? The goal determines the process. A fundamental aspect of hope is pathways thinking. When you 10x any of your goals, you'll have to really reconsider your current process or pathway. As Don Sullivan said, when 10x is your measuring stick, you immediately see how you can bypass what everyone else is doing. For example, if I 10x my financial goal for 2022, I'll have to totally rethink my current plan and process. Obviously, my current approach and game plan wouldn't get me to 10x. Thus, if I'm serious about 10xing a certain area, I need to find or create a much more powerful and direct path. This occurs through trial and error. My future self, even next week, knows way more than I do this week. 10x requires focus and simplicity. Which one of your 12-month goals is most ripe for a 10x jump? Step number 1 to being your future self is to clarify your contextual purpose. By clarifying and to contextualizing your future self, you move to step 2, which is removing everything that conflicts with the purpose and priorities you've created. There we have it. And next we'll pick up on page 141. All right. Hope you learned something. I sure did. God bless you.